Well, hi and hello. I'm Nick. This is my channel. And in the far back times of 2013, God, I'm old. Little Nick got a 2DS for their 8th birthday and a copy of Pokémon X. They played as the girl, which I feel like should have been a sign of something. So you can imagine my excitement when we found out that the next Pokémon Legends game would be set in my home region of Kalos. Or at least the city of Lumios. Good enough, I guess. And I'm sure you can also imagine my utter annoyance that we didn't get any news about this game for an entire year. But now we do. And yeah, I know. It's my childhood. It looks better than anything we've gotten in the franchise as of late. Megas are back. That's all cool and fine. But let's be honest here. We all know why we woke up early that morning. The starters. Oh. That was not what I was expecting. Not what anyone was expecting, really. I'm not disappointed, just shocked. 2 of the least popular starters in the franchise, and 2 starters from the same region. Why? In all honesty, I don't think it's some sort of conspiracy like, oh, Legends Johto is coming, so they need to get all 3 Johto starters out of the way. I think they just want to experiment with what they can do with Legends starters, since Legends ZA will be a defining game in the franchise. But you're not here to talk about game theories, you're here to watch me draw starter predictions. At least I think, otherwise, why else would you be here? And I don't want to hear it out of any of you, how the leakers are claiming that these guys are going to get megas instead of regional forms. Take everything these people say with a grain of salt. Must I remind you how they were claiming we were going to get black and white remakes before ZA was announced? Also, for the life of me, I can't draw megas. We're starting off with the starter I'm planning on picking, Meganium. And instantly we're running into a bit of an issue. Meganium and Feraligatr's designs are super simplistic. There's not really a whole lot I can do to them without just making them completely different Pokemon. Looking at what they did the last time they gave a Johto starter a regional variant, you'll notice that Typhlosion doesn't actually change that much. They just changed its personality, changed its face to match that, and changed its biggest defining design feature to emphasize its new ghost typing. And luckily for me, Meganium has a big design feature. A controversial one at that. I know a lot of people are upset Meganium loses the head leaf and neck spikes that its pre-evolutions have, but if I were to change those, it would stop being Meganium and it might as well be a split evolution at that point. So I tried meeting somewhere in the middle by making Meganium's antennas significantly longer. While not an exact match, they're now functionally able to do the same things Chikorita and Bayleef's head leaves were able to do. It also kind of acts like how Chikorita was constantly using its neck spikes to use the move Vine Whip in the anime. I also made Meganium significantly more feminine. Until like a Delphox, all of our starters were either androgynous or super masculine. Plus it helps get the idea that she's now a fairy type out of the way. I know it's kind of generic, but I feel like it makes sense that at least one of Kalos' 6 starters be a fairy type, considering this is the region it was introduced. Plus, as I'm sure you're all aware, Chikorita can now learn Disarming Voice. When back in Scarlet and Violet, it couldn't learn a single damaging fairy type move. But it could easily just be because of the new combat system they needed to rework every Pokemon's moveset. But Meganium's design kind of lent itself to being a fairy type anyway, so I rolled with it. Comment down below if you think you can figure out what the starter theme is before I mention it at the end of the video. Lumioson Meganium. This form of Meganium is much more territorial than its cousins in Johto. There have been several recorded cases of this Pokemon making their homes in public parks and chasing out the local wildlife. I'm honestly really happy with this design. I wanted to emphasize the fact she was a sauropod a little more because I did not get that as a kid. So I added those little rose thorns on her tail, which I made significantly longer. I also fixed her stat spread so it didn't suck. Along with her updated stats, I gave her the ability Regenerator and a new damaging healing move named Fairy Ring. So this tank can constantly heal itself. I figured that's the best I could do considering Grass Fairy is a shitty defensive typing. This girl already has so much against her, I did not want to leave her with nothing. We are now moving from my favorite of the three to my least favorite of the three. In original design, my redesign, and how much I enjoy drawing it. Look at my avatar. I am but a twink. I am not built to draw muscle furries. Please don't take that soundbite out of context. As tempted as I was to make this the third fire ghost type starter in a row, I didn't want to doom this thing to a fate of obscurity again, so instead it's fire steel type, which makes it the only other one besides Heatmor, for some reason. I mean, it's such a forgettable Pokemon, I bet you didn't even notice I got its name wrong. This is Heatmor, that was Heatran. This bit wasn't intentional, I actually got the name wrong. You're probably noticing I'm avoiding talking about my Emboar design, and that's because there's not really anything to talk about. I put stoves on its hands, I made its stomach a furnace, and it has smoke on its neck instead of fire. That's literally all I did. Okay, that's a lie. I added a bunch of metal to it, not only to make it more defensive, because for some reason original Emboar is a slow, frail, mixed attacker, which made no sense. But I also changed the fire on its neck to smoke because I wanted the fire to be inside of its stomach, like a furnace. That way it also was distinguished from Unova Emboar because, changing the most important feature, we went over with this with Meganium, blah, 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 blah. I'm honestly just filling up time at this point. Like I said, there really isn't anything to this design. I just threw it together. I'm proud of it, but I definitely wouldn't pick it. Lumioson Emboar. Emboar's stomach is filled with a constantly burning flame. The heat from this flame can be transferred to Emboar's palms, which it uses to char its prey. This makes it very popular with celebrity chefs. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I made this thing a chef. Because the French like eating pigs. Laugh now. And for all of you Emboar fans, the 5 of you, you'll be happy to see that I kept Emboar's original blue fire shiny. I was originally going to make it look like original Emboar, but that really wasn't looking good. And plus, Emboar's shiny is like one of the only universally liked parts about it, so what would be the point of getting rid of it? It's like Meganium. This guy has so little, I can't take away what he already has. Finally, moving on to our last starter, and the one that changed the least, honestly. Unlike Meganium's flower or Emboar's neck flames, Feraligatr doesn't really have some sort of big striking feature that makes it super recognizably Feraligatr that I can just alter slightly. So I had to get creative. I changed Feraligatr's personality. And by that I mean, I gave Feraligatr a personality. I made it a diva, basically. A lot of people are theorizing that the reason Feraligatr is in Lumiose City is because of how famous Paris's sewers are and the cultural association between crocodiles and sewers. And by that I mean, there was once a crocodile in the Paris sewers. Look it up. I can't be bothered to explain it right now. Anyways, I thought it would be funny if I made Feraligatr instead someone who would avoid the sewers at all costs. It has a manicure, it's got some nice mascara, I stylized the spikes on its head to look like a nice haircut. It doesn't want to get dirty. I also wanted it to look a little androgynous. Emboar is super masculine, I made Meganium kind of feminine, so we got ourselves a little they-them crocodile. Everyone needs a little they-them crocodile in their lives, don't you think? As for its secondary typing, I don't want to hear it out of any of you. I made it dragon type. Before anyone complains about game balancing, look at the Sinnoh and Paldea starters. Balancing isn't exactly the first thing on their minds when they're making starters. Grass Fairy is also the only secondary typing I can give the grass starter in order for the trio to stay balanced, and since I was going to do that with Meganium anyways, I figured, why not? This is like the only way I could have a water dragon starter. Also, let's be honest, if Feraligatr gets a Mega Evolution, it's going to be Water Dragon, so I might as well get it out of the way. Lumioson Feraligatr. This variant of Feraligatr have a bit of an attitude. They have a tendency to ignore their trainer's commands to avoid getting dirty. They've been known to hide in the cleaner parts of the sewers to be dramatic. What? I said it was a diva. Honestly, original Feraligatr's design has never stood out to me, but I'd honestly be happy if I picked this guy as my starter in ZA. Still choosing Meganium though. I will defend that flower dinosaur with my life. Regular Feraligatr's stats are kind of a bulky mixed attacker, but since the other two starters I made are already tanks, I switched this Feraligatr to instead be a physical sweeper. Like I mentioned earlier, outside of the color palette and personality shifts, this guy's pretty similar to base Feraligatr, but unlike Meganium and Emboar, Feraligatr isn't notoriously hated, so it's not like I'm taking anything from him. And there we have it, Knickknack's official Pokemon Legends ZA starter predictions. These are 100% going to be the game. My uncle works at Game Freak, and he said so. Now I'm going to give you a couple seconds to try and comment down below what you think these guys' overall theme is. 3, 2, 1. The overarching theme I gave these three starters is the theme of art and beauty. Ironically enough, the theme of Kalos already. Meganium obviously represents gardening, Emboar represents cooking, and Feraligatr represents fashion. I'm not going to get into it too much, you can go watch Loxton and Noggin's video on it, but a lot of people theorize that the reason these three starters were picked specifically for Lumio City is because of Francis' association with aromatherapy, cooked pork, and alligator-related fashion. So I just emphasize those aspects of these guys' designs, and boom, you've been Frenched. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was really rough around the edges. I'm literally recording and editing this on my iPad. I was hoping to have this video out shortly after Pokemon Day, but of course, the week after the presents, I got the flu. For 2 weeks. And then that turned into pneumonia. So I haven't exactly been in the position to record anything recently. But hey, I got this video out before the starter's final forms leaked. Hopefully. But with all that being said, I've been Knickknack the Clown. You've been watching my channel, and please remember, don't die.